Well, welcome to Thursday. Dave and I are here with our weekly Thursday website webinars where we go over parts of the control center and hopefully empower our print buyer or print users to become more familiar with the control center. So we're going to drive you through the homepage tab today. But speaking of driving, I think Dave has a little something interesting to share.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about my youngest child, my wife and I, our youngest child, Andrew. He's getting ready for his driver's license test, and I don't know. Trish and I were talking about that. For him, he's just saying, yeah, it's just another box to check as I get a little bit closer to being an adult, and it's just another day for the driver's license test. And I don't know how it is for you all, but for me, when I was in his position getting ready for that, it was like, oh, here it comes. I'm almost ready to become a licensed driver. And yeah, I was just
Yep.
so excited and giddy. Is that how you were, Trish?
Yeah, oh yeah, I was ready to go.
Yeah,
So,
so I don't know. It's just a different world, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe that's the pandemic influence, like nowhere to drive anymore or whatever. I don't know. But he is obliging us to get ready for his driver's license test.
all
But
right.
we just kind of threw together a quick poll just based on our pre-webinar banter here, and we'll use that to see if our attendees are awake. So we're just going to throw a quick poll at you here, just a fun one, just to make sure that you can see the screen and answer. So help us get started. Here's a poll for you. I'm just going to put it out there. Do you have any kids currently preparing for a permit or driver's license test? Help us out. Fill that in. Let's see who's in our audience here. Two versions of yes there. Your freedom is coming. Hello, yes, hello, freedom, I'm thrilled. Or no, they're coming, but here comes the insurance increase. So it looks like everyone's voted and we've got a unanimous one here. So let's go ahead and close the poll. Here's what you said. Oh, shoot, did I not display it? Oh, here it comes. Nobody except me has kids that are preparing for a permit or driver's license test. So we'll just let that be what it is.
Yep.
That's my story, but we will use that story to bridge the gap to, like you said, Trish. Here's how we drive into that homepage welcome text, and well, I'll pull up the billboard analogy later here. So go for it, Trish. Get us started.
All right. What we're going to do is the last couple webinars, we've gone over the website builder, and then about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we took 2 webinars and went in depth over the workflow. So we're going to skip over workflow. If you're wondering why, or if you're wondering where those webinars are on our page where you can sign up for this webinar, or if I go up here in the upper right, view weekly website tutorials, those webinars on the workflow are listed in this list here. So we're jumping over to the web pages tab, and today we're going to focus on the home page tab here on the left. The welcome text. Now, the design I have chosen, which I believe is clean style, does not include welcome text, but I wanted to bring up one of our demo websites that does include welcome text so you can see what this looks like. So on the back end of this welcome text tab, you can adjust the headline, and then there's a body text, or basically you can format the text that you want to be on your website. And what does this look like on the home page? If we look, here we go. Welcome to our site. It's going to be the same color, or part of your color scheme of your website, and then there's that text I was talking about. So if you have a website design that includes welcome text, we definitely encourage you to update that specific to your website. Don't leave it with our generic. I mean, you could, but we'd encourage you to change that to something specific. If you have a website design similar as myself, it will just mention that it doesn't include homepage welcome text. So we want to make sure to.
I'll jump in here with that billboard analogy. And Trish, can you pull up either yours or else the one that you just had up there? So first of all, just to point out just what Trish said, that is a difference between website designs. And there's from the control center perspective, there is very, very few differences between them. From the control center perspective, from the backside of it, that is one of the very few ones. So I'm glad you pointed that out. But kind of keep the overall theme of when Trish gets back into the details of what the control center is doing and how it reflects on the home page. Here's that billboard analogy I was kind of holding for the webinar. Is when my son Andrew is doing his driving practice, getting ready for the driver's license, The last thing I want him to do is to see a billboard with 80 or 900 words on it, try to read every single one as he's going by. That doesn't work. And that's the same thing on your home page here too. It's so easy for us to start talking about ourselves and everything that's great about us and fill up that whole big web page with everything about us. But please don't do that. Treat that like the billboard, so you're not creating an accident for your customers when they come to visit your website. High impact information, quick impact information to get them where they need to go. It's real easy if you want to load up this website with way too much stuff. And that's a different topic. I won't go any further than just to say that. But as we are showing you these pieces of information, please keep that in mind. Please keep it billboard-like, so that you're not creating accidents as you're building your homepage with your message. Back to you, Trish.
Good reminders, Dave. Appreciate that. So if we continue on the left side under the homepage tab, there's homepage sliders and custom sliders. And I did a little bit about going over sliders and probably these other callout boxes and CTA before, but we're going to make sure we cover it as a whole under this homepage tab. What I typically do, or how I would go about this, is the custom sliders tab is just that. This is where you can create a custom slider to go on your website. And I've got quite a few, and I don't necessarily have them all turned on. But if you were to go here, now if you have an existing one that you created, select edit. And again, you can edit, the headline if you want to add a subheading, if you want to adjust the image, if you want to adjust the link info, meaning where does this slider button go on your website, and then the text for that button. So you can edit an existing slider. You could delete one if you want. You could preview it if you would like to see what it looks like before you click it to go live, as well as create a new custom slider here. So you can go through and just like I had mentioned when you're editing it, give it a headline, a subheading, add an image. Do you want this slider button, if you have one, to go to a page within your website, or do you want to go to an external page away from your website? And then the link text, email us, call us, order here, whatever you would like that to say. So you have the ability to add a custom slider, edit a custom slider, or if you would need to, you can delete a custom slider. So the reason I say I wanted to go here first is once you add a custom slider, back on the home page sliders page is where you check the custom sliders that you created that you want to show, and then you can drag around the crosshairs the order that you want them to go in. So for instance, maybe I'll quick switch around to say the simplicity at its best is first instead of the craftsmanship. If I select save and view, we should see the first slider is now the simplicity. So the homepage sliders tab is really allowing you to select the sliders that you want to see, which relates a little bit to what Dave said about the billboard aspect, because you don't want to have too many sliders that people might have to sit through and let it go through or toggle on themselves. A good number I've seen is 3, maybe 4. Of course, you can have as many as you want. Not necessarily the best recommendation, but you can. And then you're allowed to put them in any order that you would like by getting the crosshairs and just dragging and dropping them. If you need to have less sliders.
Just to compliment what you just said, something that I say often in individual conversations, not just printing conversations, but also to my kids, is just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. So just because you can have 20 sliders on your website doesn't mean you should.
Good point, Dave. So the homepage sliders tab, again, just allows you to check on or off the ones you want to use and put them in the order that you would like. Moving on to our callout boxes. This will be a similar aspect. There's the custom callout boxes tab, and there's the homepage callout boxes tab. So I'm going to drop one down to the custom callout boxes tab. And similar to sliders, you can edit an existing callout box that you have, you can delete one, or you can create a new callout box. So I'm going to select edit just to show you for an existing one. You can adjust the headline. The content is kind of the text that you want to be within that callout box. And then you can have it either, now this happens to be an image-based callout box, and I'll show you when I go to create a new one. So you can choose from YouTube or Vimeo, and then there's a little preview of what that looks like. If I was to go to edit a image-based, it'll show image down here instead of video. And then you have the option for link info, similar to sliders. Do you want to link to within a page in your website or an external link to another website? And then your link text, if you want to have a button, print here, order now, whatever you want it to call, you can edit the link text.
And
Now,
that decision whether to make it a video or an image-based call-out box, that's made when you create a new one, I believe, right?
correct. I was going to go into that, even though I had went over a little bit in a prior webinar. If I select create a new custom call-out box, right away you're given the option to choose if you want to have it image-based or do you actually want to have a video. And if I select image-based, everything will show up that I showed you before. It's blank, of course, to start new. Fill in as much or as little as you would like, but we encourage you to have an image to grab, your print buyer's attention and so forth. If you were to add a video-based call-out box, again, headline content, here's your source, and then you would copy and paste the URL, the link for that video. So if we look at my homepage to see, let me just scroll down. I have mostly image-based. Here's one, the Sell More Printing, that is video-based. If you click on it, it nicely pops up on the screen for your print buyers to fast forward, play, pause, whatever they want. It's kind of a nice little embed on the call-out box that jumps up at your print buyers. If you X out of that, it goes back to where it was.
So what we recommend here is that 6 is always a good number here. And really try to find that 6. It just creates that nice visual balance on this screen. Just as some people are driving by on the internet highway here and you don't want them to go, oh, that was weird, there's only 4 there and it looks out of balance. Just because you can have 4 doesn't mean you should. So at least work in multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, but 6 is the number we recommend here. This is kind of that next layer of eye-catching, that homepage slider we talked about first. That's what's going to be the attention grabber. Have something that's important but not as important. That's where these call-out boxes are going to fill that role.
Yep, right on. And then let's say under the custom call-out box tab, you're done creating or editing what's there. If you go up one to the homepage call-out boxes tab, this is where you can select any new ones you've added that you might want to have, deselect an old one, and then again, if you hover over one of the lines for a call-out box, you get the crosshairs. You can put in the order that you would like. Top to bottom is left to right. So we'll save that. I just moved Sell More Printing, which is the video-based one, to be in the upper left. So if I refresh my homepage, now we have that video-based call-out box in the upper left. So instantaneous as soon as you select save, depending on what you do on this page. All right, so we went over our sliders, how to create, turn on, and place the order. We went over call-out boxes, turn on, place the order. Now we're gonna go on to CTA or call to action buttons. And maybe you're wondering, well, what's that? Or I haven't seen that, or maybe you haven't been on the back of your control center in a while. Some of the website designs have what's called a call to action or a CTA ribbon and some do not. This one I have happens to have that, and it's this orange bar underneath your sliders. The default icons and links that we provide is send your files, order printing, and request an estimate. What's nice about this, you can completely wipe away the 3 defaults that we provide. You can add up to 6 of your own, or you can add 3 of your own to add the 3 of the ones that we provide for you. And how do you do that? Well, there's a custom CTA button. Sorry about that if you heard that. There is a custom CTA button tab here, and I don't have any custom ones created, as you could see from my ribbon here. These are the 3 defaults that we had provided. But if you select create a new custom CTA button, it does mention a little bit about how that image will be scaled down. And we do recommend, strongly recommend, a plain white icon with a transparent background. And if we look at my homepage, you can see that that is kind of clean, not cluttered. It stands out. You don't have to. I've seen nice little smaller images of, RGB or colored icons, but the best route, or what we've seen looks the best, is the white transparent. So I'm gonna.
Or go ahead, Trish.
Yep, I was gonna create it. I do have a nice little image saved, or some folks want to have a link to a make a payment URL we've seen. So we're gonna use this little icon that I've borrowed from another one of our printers, and it's gonna go to an external website. I'm just gonna make it up, make a payment. .com, and the link text could say pay here or something of that nature. Add custom call to action button. So now here is an example of one that's created. Of course, you can select edit, and you may go in and edit that call box. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, if you can go back to the page and maybe even pull up that one, just so you can activate it, just so you can see that.
Yeah.
What I was going to say, and I'll start saying it while you maneuver over there, is if you're kind of hearing what Trish is saying on that, this is here for you. And in almost every case, the 3 default buttons work fine. And I would suggest that unless you have a specific reason to add or edit those call to action buttons, you probably don't need to spend a lot of time there. However, at the same time, we never want to be seen as the rigid, inflexible people that make up every rule for you to follow. So therefore, if you do have that reason to do that, it's there. You can change that. And we'd encourage you to do that, but really be thinking about that. Back to that billboard analogy. I don't want my son Andrew coming up on your website and all of a sudden having that crash because he got distracted by too much information. Once you get going, and maybe this is self-reflection, but once you get going, it's easy to add way more information than is necessary. So really be thoughtful on that. Really think about not just the call to action buttons, but really all of the things that we're talking about. Is it really necessary? Is it helping or is it hurting to have that extra information? It's a fine line. There's not a one-size-fits-all answer for everybody, of course, but just want to get you thinking about that too. So know that that tool is there, but really think, should I use that tool?
Thank you, Dave, again for pointing that out and reiterating the fact. And back on here, I don't want to go too quick. What I had done is the pay here was the new one that I had created, and I simply selected it so it'd show up. Now, I didn't move the location of how this fits in, but I'm going to move this to the top and select save. And if I refresh my home page, that call to action button is now on the far left called pay here. And again, in theory, this will go to an actual URL outside the website, or maybe you do want to have it go within your website somewhere. But again, with call to action buttons, just like custom sliders and custom call out boxes, you can create a custom CTA. You can edit an existing one if you would like. And then the homepage CTA button tab is for you to select the ones you want to use and to move them in the order that you would like. And then here's our 3 defaults that we provide for you as well. So with that, that is all of the homepage tab. And here I thought we'd have room for services, but of course, we don't want to cram too much and get too in over our heads. We want to make sure we have enough time to go over things thoroughly. So we're going to save that for probably the next webinar.
And with that, just as you hinted, that's the place where we wrap it up. We're going to do that very quickly, but I'll ask for that extra little bit of attention. If you would, please stick around just long enough. It can be as little as 5 seconds to give us your feedback on this webinar. There's more time, take more time if you want to give us additional information, but just give us at least 5 seconds more after we wrap up the webinar to give us the feedback on the webinar. And that begins now. Thanks for being with us today.